Use us.
Yes,
use this video. Use this editing. Use our voices. Use our thought process.
Yes.
To help the one person, Lord.
Yes.
I use us. Welcome to the Power Up Man Cave. It is the round table discussion. We're coming back at you with some real good commentary, man. We're going to talk about relationship roles. I'm here with, if you guys don't know me, I'm Keith Withrow.
Gary Rambo.
Stanley Autry.
Joe Verdun.
Yeah, man, this is the full squad. We're back at the round table discussion, man. And we're talking about the relationship roles with the untimely death of Mr. Samuels, man. So we want to kind of talk about some of the things that everybody's talking about with these relationships, man. We're just going to come at it from a different angle from believers. And I think this is going to be great for everybody. Man, for men, for women, relationships, whether you're married or not, I think this is going to be great for everybody. So with that being said, man, let's get right into it. I said earlier, if you guys saw the episode of the story, that's basically relationships is basically was one of the catalysts that got me interested into talking with men and having the Power of Man piece. When I was a single man and I had gone through my divorce, I talked about how I was meeting individuals and some of the things that were going on with some of the discussions and why there was such a shortage of great men. A lot of times I really don't think, yes, there is more women than men that are available, but I really do think that people aren't making themselves available, and they're just pretty much going after what their type may be, or what unwritten rule of what they think they should have versus what they need, or what maybe God has sent you the person you needed that you should have, and you basically blew that particular person off. And man, I really do think that a lot of times in relationships, some of us have missed opportunities with our soulmate because we didn't think that they might have made a certain amount of money or had the right type of career. Society is playing such a domineering role into what everybody should have as it relates to the monetary piece. Everybody's saying you got to be successful, you got to be a baller, you got to be a boss, you got to be this and that. But I've been telling a lot of people that I know that are single, especially just ladies, hey, I sometimes think that you may look over the guy who's the right guy for you. Like, what's wrong with the guy who works, who's a firefighter? What's wrong with the guy who works at the warehouse? Because I look at even me when I was younger. I didn't make but a certain amount of money, but that doesn't mean that I won't evolve into that one day that won't come. Or even how about when we work together as a couple, how about our marriage being blessed, right? And we can live a great, successful life together because our money is blessed, our money is stretched.
How about this? That brings another thought to mind. With me, you ever heard the expression that says, who's gonna put your tube socks on?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you get old, you can't do it for yourself.
Right. That's right.
Because honestly, if you're looking at relationships and you're pursuing a lot of superficial kind of stuff, that at the end of the day, when you're too old to do something for yourself, when you're with somebody that you got with on that basis, where that was the reason why y'all got together,
that's right.
That person will not do that for you.
Right. That's right.
Nor anything else that you need in that particular time when you get old. So my point is that focus on things that they really matter more.
Right. And that's where I was going to go, because I know that just amongst us, and you two having been married before, we've been able to talk about primarily in the beginning, you were looking for what you felt like you wanted.
Right.
You didn't really pray for your wife.
Exactly.
The bride that came. Right. It was more or less that I see what I want.
That's right.
I'm getting what I want.
That's right.
I think I want this for the rest of my life, and you got married, but It wasn't necessarily God probably sent this and she was ready. God had her ready, and then that union was blessed. But the second time around, it was like, yeah, I prayed for this one.
That's right.
So when it came, you knew without a shadow of a doubt, like, this is a God thing.
That's right.
Because I spoke to him about what I needed and then what I wanted. And a lot of times what we need don't always come in the package that we want.
Oh, that's right.
And that's why that overlooking that you mentioned earlier, that's why that can happen, because we be looking at what we want versus what we need. And you spoke about what you'll need in the end. But in the beginning, you may miss that.
That's right.
And we get tripped up because of that.
That's right.
Exactly.
One of the problems is that most people, when they first start off dating, they have no idea what they want or what they need.
That's right.
And they're so superficial that most of it is just physical. And so they end up falling in love with something that's just strictly physical. But just like with Kevin Samuels, you see a lot of times what you say is not what you feel. So you give all this good advice and then you call a spade, but you're not living by what you preach. And so in a classic example is here in his situation, what relationship was that he was in that resulted in his demise? It was very superficial. Fact is that relationships have become even more superficial. People aren't looking for somebody equally yoked anymore. They don't have time to do that. They don't talk about opposite attract anymore. What's happening now is more like pies in the sky. You just get on the internet and let the cloud decide who you're gonna be with. Or you could just let some program decide and they choose who would be appropriate for you. But ultimately, all you're getting is a perception of what you think you might want when you really sometimes don't know. The fact is that this internet dating is leading to some connections, no doubt. But it's leading to a whole lot more misconceptions.
That's right.
And it's really just ruining people's chances to find somebody because they're so tarnished with all sorts of interactions that has no basis for sincerity.
That's right. We talked about it a little bit when we talked about in the identity crisis video that we did, because everybody's got this superficial world that they're creating on social media, and they're creating, everybody's supposed to have, everybody's a boss these days, everybody's an entrepreneur, everybody, if they don't have the big deal now, they're working on the next big humongous deal. There's a lot of superficial stuff going on, but that stuff is not going to last. What you got to do as you become more mature, I know I did it. As Stan said earlier, I prayed for the Lord to bring me what I need. And guess what? The one thing about prayer is a lot of times you get what you need and what you want. And most of the time when I pray for different things, it's not just what I need. He gives me most of what I want. Whether what you wanted, sometimes that's why it's not good just to pray for what you want, because you may get just what you think you want, and that's not what you really need.
And it's hard to know what you need and truly what you want when you haven't done even the research to sit down, settle down with God to understand yourself. So that's why even coming out of probably your first marriages, you had a better identification of who you are as a husband and what you would need as a partner from there forward.
Right.
Where going into it, you had some ideas, but going through it, you probably came out of it different, knowing a little bit more.
Being real to yourself.
Right.
Like really understand who you are with the mask off.
Right. Because I may have an idea of who I could be in a marriage or as a father, but without being a husband or a father, it's really what we call it, a hypothesis.
Right.
It's a theory of what I believe myself to be, but until I actually do it and be it and then execute it, then I'll know.
Right.
And you guys had a chance to come out of that knowing. So the best thing you can do is take some idle time with the Father and try to figure out who you are deep down. And then get started with him sending what you need. So therefore, those growing levels that I'll need to go through, I'll have the partner there with me that he ordained to be with me to go through that,
there's so many distractions that are out there. If you think about, you got, social media, you got the internet, you got, everything that's going on around it is just constant. And even in terms of, your cell phone, there's so much exposure. Like it used to be when I was growing up, especially before cell phones and all that kind of stuff. You could actually, somebody called your house, and they didn't get you. You know what I'm saying? They just left a message on the voicemail, whatever, on the answering machine. Right?
That's right.
And you get back home, you give them a call back.
That's right.
Now, all the time. Constant
accessibility, yeah.
You're constantly accessible. And what I'm saying is, think about the level of just being worn out. You know what I'm saying? Just constantly exposed all the time. There's no let up all the time. So my thing is that in terms of that affecting, your, ability to get to know yourself, I think it honestly makes it a little bit hard.
Yeah, because you got too much background noise.
Yeah, you got so much background noise, and honestly, when you talk about getting to know God, hey, a lot of times, He wants you to, get away from all of that.
That's right.
Let me back up and get quiet. Let me spend some time reading the Word. What does the Lord say about me? What does His Word say in terms of, like if I'm going through all this stuff, just going through all this havoc and turmoil. What does the Lord say about me? And He says, the Word says I'm more than a conqueror. He says, don't be anxious for anything. He says, seek ye the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you.
Absolutely.
That's what He
He said all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know that and much more if you didn't take time to spend time with God and know what He's saying.
Yes.
So that's the thing. The world is set up for you not to do that.
The Lord will deliver if you're sincere and you're faithful.
Definitely.
And if you're willing to wait.
That's right.
But a lot of times you don't know what you're asking for. The Lord knows. Oh, just give me somebody, Lord, who just love me. Oh, you might get somebody love you, but it might be some type of possessive love.
That's right.
They can't stand to see you even, break bread
That's right.
with your family.
Right.
Oh, they're intimidated.
Right.
They might be jealous of everything you do.
Yeah.
Is that really what you wanted? Is that the kind of love that you wanted?
Right.
That possessed love? You want somebody who can give you a combination of things. Love, companionship, friendship. Everybody get romantic before they find a friend.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they're looking for a friend that ain't got nothing to do with what you interested
Where
in.
it distorts it once you get physical too.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times when you bringing the physical aspect of it, you don't really get a chance to really know the person before you bring in that one aspect. And that distorts your real vision of, who they really are. But at this point, I'm 52, and I'm more than halfway. Yeah, I doubt if I live to be 104. Okay, so when I got married this time, my thought process was different than when I got married the first time. I got married the first time, I needed a mother for my children, and we were still in the building mode, and we were just getting life started. But now, hey, I'm a middle-aged man. So when I was looking for a wife, the dynamic was different. When I'm looking at who I'm picking to be my wife, okay, will this person be there for me if I can't wipe myself? Will this person be there for me if I have a catastrophic event and I'm laid up? Or will this person is the type of person that's pushed me off in the corner and I sit in the chair with the blanket on me, and I'm just sitting there and I'm not being cared for properly. So as we get older, the dynamics of what you're looking for changes. I can't be with somebody who I don't think has a true love for me, to where, when stuff gets tough or my health declines, you're gonna up and leave me because maybe I'm not as physical as I used to be. Or me doing that to them. Like you gotta be down for the long haul at this point.
Yeah.
this is until caskets close. Because that's a very real reality. Especially in today's time with all the viruses and stuff and all of the turmoil that's going on. Like, be more mature in your thought process when you're choosing a mate at this point. Especially for the middle-aged men. Again, I'm not saying get somebody that you totally are not attracted to, but the attraction should be more than just all physical. Be attracted to a person's heart, meaning their spirit, meaning do they have it? Do they love the Lord? Like can we pray together?
Right.
And I think that you should absolutely, as you date, find somebody that up front you can pray with and be sincere.
Yes.
Don't care what age you are when you're in a relationship. First of all, try to find somebody when you start a relationship that you think would most likely be suited for the type of person that you are, the personality.
That's right.
And
your real personality.
You gotta cut it cold. If you are dating somebody and they're not somebody that you might marry or you want to spend your life with, you gotta cut it off. Don't sit around years and waste your time or waste somebody else's time and then find out that's not what it's about and not what you're about. And you definitely not about what they want to be about.
Just be real. Again, we always talk about removing the mask. Here we go back at the same juncture again. Okay, for instance, I always like to use me as an example because I know me and what I've gone through best. I'm not the real affectionate guy. So if you're a real needy woman who requires a lot of attention, a lot of time and a lot of encouragement, requiring a lot of me, guess what? I'm a business guy. I'm that guy who runs a corporation. So guess what? I'm gonna be away from the house a lot. I'm putting a lot of hours in. I've got a lot going on. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna have your back. But the ongoing joke is I'm not gonna be sitting there. Let's let our love unfurl. That's not me. I'm not gonna do it. And I was real enough to say, hey, or if I recognize a person needed that, I would automatically know this is not going to work because I'm not going to be able to give them what they need. Don't waste people's time and give them something or show them evidence of something that you're not. Not to say that you can't make an adjustment, but let's be honest. If you're 50 something years old, or in your late 40s, you pretty much are what you're going to be, right? You're not probably going to change completely. Yeah, you have to meet in the middle. Yes, you have to make some adjustments. But you know what? I always say this, I got to make sure you can love me in my present form. No changes, raw and uncut. Can you handle me the way I am with no adjustments?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So like if you meet somebody, that's why it's so important that you show, you meet people. This is usually like a 90-day rule. Sometimes you can make it 90. Some people can't make it 90. It's 30 days. Like when you're dating somebody, first you get the representative. And then like you get, usually around 90 days is when the real person start to show up, right? So that's a waste of time. If everybody's true and recognize who they are for themselves and present that person, right? Then that gives everybody a good opportunity to make an assessment as to, is this person right for me or not? They may look great. They may look like I want them to look. My current wife says, hey, guess what? You're not my normal type. She told me. And I felt, well, okay. All right. Well, everybody has a type in their mind of what they like. But she even told me that she tells some of her single friends now, don't always look for your type.
Right.
Because God can bring you what you need in a different package. So be open to that different package.
That's right.
Because that package could be the best thing that ever happened to you. It's just wrapped up a little different.
And like you said a second ago, being able to, as men, we make it sound a little, I guess, simple in women's terminology when we say, be able to accept me and love me raw, uncut, unadjusted.
Right.
And I like to say to them, typically what it looks like is that for men, when we decide that we want to be with this woman, even if we want to marry this woman, we like, look, if we could just stay like this.
Right here. Yeah.
For the rest of the time,
we're good.
Oh, we good.
That's right.
And we're gonna be consistent. We're gonna bring the same effort level all the way through.
Right. Even if it's just 75% and it's the 25%.
But is that a reality?
But that's what I'm saying. On the flip side, the woman is looking like so much potential here. I can see where we can grow.
Then they want to change.
I can see where you can grow as a man, as a husband, as a father. I can see where I could be as a mother, and they can see this story.
Right.
And now you got to fulfill the story that sometimes is in the membrane.
These stories have been created. They've been looking at this story since they were a little girl.
And that's what I'm saying. And so then the conflict becomes when we sitting there, and as you said, Mr. Samuels may pick up and say, so you're gaining weight, because we're like, can you stay the same?
Yeah, right.
And they're like, well, that's not reality. You're not going to stay the same physically and mentally and whatever. But we would like the consistency of trying to stay the same.
Right.
Where for a young lady, she probably looking at the potential of what her storyline was when we get married.
Yeah, the Prince
house,
Charm,
the car,
white
the
picket
kids,
fence, and the dog.
Yeah, so when those things start falling short, it's like you're not living out the dream that was in the head, and the conflict becomes right then. Versus
like oh, I want to have a family, I want to have kids. But coming with the kids is all of the complications that come with the kids on let's say that woman's physical. So she gets slow metabolism.
Correct.
Hypothyroidism, just having a baby. It's natural. Gonna gain 25 to 35 pounds. And most women will tell you, oh, I used to, but after I started having these babies, I gained this weight.
That's it.
And here you are, well, I don't want no woman who is overweight. So therefore, you can't see beyond the physical. Now that woman can lose some weight. And I can tell you she'll lose it real quick if you act a fool and let her get out your sight. And now you got these kids. Now our kids are kind of like left on the lam because you're not happy because of a physical. Because you wasn't really in love with that individual. You was in love with that individual brought to the table.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just beauty. And sometimes it's a beast behind all that beauty.
We got Doc started now. What are your thoughts on relationship roles? You can chime in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We'll be back next week with part 2 of the relationship roles. See you next week.